Welcome, everybody. It's your boy Eric from Easy Computer Solutions, and this is Saturday Night Tech Talk. I have a group of guys tonight, and we're going to get into some deep tech. We're going to talk about all kinds of tech. All right, so welcome to the live stream, and I know people are going to start joining a little late, but they know that I do this every Saturday night, so the links are, and shame on YouTube that send out links 15 and 20 minutes late, so that we get people that come in and the first thing they always say, well, easy, I just got the link. So shame on YouTube that don't put these links out instantly. But I got a panel of guys here that's awesome. And my glasses crooked and everything else. I just need more drinks. That's what it is. I got a panel of guys tonight that we're going to have us some fun. I got Mike in the building. What's up with you, Mike?
What's going on, Eric? Hey, thanks for inviting me. I had a great time. Eric was on my channel just 2 nights ago, and the conversation went overtime, as it often does, because there's so much to talk about. But I just want to say I love this channel. You've inspired me. I've told people this before, and I'll say it again. If you want someone to motivate you, go on to Easy's channel and check out what he does. And this is the hardest working man on YouTube right here. So I appreciate what you've done and what you're doing right now.
Thank you very much. And I got Craig in the building. Welcome back, Craig Tech Talk. Let everybody know about your huge milestone. I got the link. As soon as I got the YouTube link, I went on there and I see that you say that was your first time live streaming. You want to congratulate everybody for your the huge milestone. Let everybody know about your huge milestone that you just crossed.
Well, I just crossed 2,000 subscribers, and it's kind of funny. The first time I came on your show, I think I was at 453, and that was like December, right before Christmas. So it's been great growth. I mean, my channel right now, a lot of it's just been about stuff I like and stuff that's coming around. I buy everything. I don't mind. It's all about growing the channel, and it's like, ooh, here's a drone, here's this, and it's all over the map at this point. But I do have a weekly Echo series that I'm doing. So I challenge myself to find something interesting about this device 52 weeks a year, for 52 videos. So the whole year. And luckily they've kept up updating, so it hasn't been horrible and people have liked it. So that's I've had good growth. So I appreciate coming back on. It's awesome. I couldn't say no, even though I have some time constraints, just because I feel like I got a lot of that growth starting here. So it's been great.
Yes. And if everybody already know who this guy is, we got Ace in the building. Hey, also, you just reached a milestone. Let everybody know about your great milestone you just reached.
Well, hey, what's happening? What's happening, everybody? Easy Computer Solutions in the house. We're here to do it hardcore tonight. Long story short, I hit 1,000 subscribers, but it wasn't easy. I had to do a whole bunch of nude videos. I had to, it was rough. I had to do a bunch of, table dances. And you guys know I'm a little chubby, so when I was dancing on one of the tables, the table broke. But I got 1,000 subscribers. Thank all of you, Easy Computers. Easy, thank you very much. You're the man. I highly appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Hey, look, it just kind of remind me of when I first started a couple of years ago, right? And man, I was motivated, man. I was popping out video, but I go back and I look at my old videos and I couldn't believe how bad I was. I mean, I had a vision, but it's like, over time you get better. And over time I got better. I remember, and I know how it is right now with YouTube. You'll pop up a video, you might get 5 views, 10 views. And I know sometimes it's frustrating because I've been through it. And I get upset a little bit when I don't hit 1,000 views on videos. But as you progress and as time move on, things will get a whole lot better.
I tell you what, Easy, I know what you're talking about, man. I'll be putting up videos sometimes, and Google feels so sorry for me that they're sending me food stamp cards. That's how bad it is.
You know what is kind of cool though is that for people that don't have a channel, they have analytics that you can look at. But when you do so many videos, you can only see the most 20 recent analytics without making groups. So the point is it's kind of cool to go back every once in a while, see the ones that you can't see, and you go, oh crap, that video's gone up to that. So, it's kind of fun to see the journey. Like, wow,
it's good.
1,400? Whoa.
Yeah. That's good. Now, the toughest thing that I'm having a hard time with, and it happened the other day, I'm having a real hard time with trolls. I'm not used to it, man, because I'm getting a lot of people in the comments. And the other day there was this one he was one of those rebel flag guys, right? And he was saying a bunch of crazy stuff. So I'm still taking this stuff real serious. So I tracked him down on Facebook, right? And I was like, "What's up, dude? What do you want to do?" And then he got all upset. And then he blocked me. And then my boys tracked him down. I got this old Mexican friend from. Anyway, he tracked him down too. And now the dude's all freaked out. I'm like, well, you know, you start trolling on people. And he didn't even have a troll account. Like, he was using his real account to troll me. I'm like, is this guy crazy?
Ooh, shout out to Derek Floyd. He just got on and started the super chat, which is great. So thank you very much. He always come through. Thank you very much, Derek, and I really do appreciate all the super chats that you guys put. Let's get to some tech news, and let's talk about one of the phones that I'm anticipating on. And we talking about the OnePlus 6. Now, in 2017, I blasted OnePlus because of how they did business. But as time passed by, and look, shout out to that. Just got the notification, by the way. But the OnePlus have done an amazing job. I mean, they give you all top of the line specs for low cost. They give you everything underneath the sun. But the OnePlus 6, along with the new movie that was released yesterday, supposed to have some type of venture together. So I'm excited to see what OnePlus gonna. Now we're hearing the release date of mid-May, like May 14th or May 16th. So hopefully, I'm excited to see what this OnePlus device is and go from there. But you know, any thoughts about OnePlus? I don't know if y'all guys been kind of keeping up with this OnePlus stuff. You know, OnePlus been kind of, I don't know, it kind of upset me a little bit in 2017, but I kind of got over the motion of how they do business. Any thoughts on OnePlus?
I'm pretty excited about the OnePlus 6 coming out. OnePlus sent me an email. I'm sure they sent it to 1,000 people. They asked me to like tell me why I should, I guess, be. OnePlus basically said, "Hey, why should we let you review our OnePlus 6?" And so they wanted me to send a big old letter, and then they wanted me to post one of my videos, and then they actually made me do a review, like a written review. And I'm not the best writer, but I made it happen. I just pretended I was like reviewing one of my Samsung phones, and I went at it, you know, and hopefully it works out. I'm excited though.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, what's so funny about OnePlus is that I don't know if a lot of people don't like that because they figure, hey, listen, if you're gonna send me a review unit as a YouTuber, just send it to me. Don't give me all this crap about why I got to get on my knees and beg for it. That's
jumping through hoops.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, OnePlus has done some things that, you know, in 2017, I blasted them out for the upside down screen, coming out with 2 phones a year and stuff like that. But let's see what OnePlus does. I mean, I got the email too. I'm not going through hoops and begging OnePlus. I'm gonna check it out, see what it's all about, and go from there. Now, a lot of people is concerned that why buy the OnePlus 6 and knowing that 4 or 5 months later you have a OnePlus 6T. So it's just one of those things that you're damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you buy OnePlus today, you know it's going to be discontinued in 4 months. So that's how that works. Wow, we got a lot of people in the building. What's up with everybody that made it to the building? We got Don in the building. Uno Nice is in the building. Timothy is in the building. Kimmy, we got the Wednesday night ladies in the building. The VIPs is in the building. So what's up with your scrumptious is in the building. Big House Production in the building. And look, I want to give a huge shout out to Big House Production because I think he was the first one that made a comment on the video that I posted with the new G3 or something that I just posted. So that was good. Gentlemen, enough of me talking, because I could be talking all night to get y'all guys in the mix.
I feel like this is hard for me because I'm an iPhone user. So it's like I'm confused by because I like my iPhone, and it's like there's no iPhone equivalent that I could pop my SIM and go, is this a better version? Is this a better version? So it's kind of like I thought about the SE, like if a new one comes out, But then I go, in all reality, I'm going to be biased because it's just going to piss me off that doesn't have everything. So I'm like, so for me, I don't really understand. Like, I'm going to want the top of whatever the class is, and anything else that sucks.
Well, you know what the thing about it is, I've been advocating about iOS for the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of leaning towards iOS a little more because of what I don't like with Android, right?
See, but with Android though, it's like I was sitting here as you're talking about the phone. It makes total sense as if you were. It's a parallel move to go Android to Android. But for me, I'm like, to try to actually check out some of these phones, I'm going to have such a bias because I don't know Android well enough because I made the iOS choice. So it's like, but I get it. If it's a lateral move, you're like, hey, why not? Just, is it better? Is it not? So that's why I feel like I don't contribute much on this one. So.
No. Because here's the thing. As we know, when we talk about Android versus iOS, both of them bring the unique features to the table. But as I've been advocating on my YouTube channel for the last couple of weeks, I've really been hard on Android, and the reason why is because of specifics. Because you know, when we talk about devices that's coming out, still running Android 7.0, and I think they're pulling fast ones on us on some of these phones, right? I mean, and is it right for us consumers to accept this stuff? This I think my whole purpose is to try to get the awareness out. And a lot of people attacking me, telling me, "Well, easy."
Unfortunately, you know, you have to get the awareness because for it's good. There's not a shitty version of the iPhone. Sorry if I shouldn't cuss right now. There's not a bad version. So like you said, it's like, and Samsung and a couple other people have said, okay, we're going to make the top-notch version of Android, but you got to inform people that you're running stuff that isn't going to cut it. You're like, you pay next to nothing for it, but it isn't going to do 4K video, or it isn't, you know, I mean, you don't know what you're sacrificing when it comes to Android. So they need you, easy.
You know, here's the thing about, like, you know, this crap is going on in the United States, right? I'm seeing this big parallel that's going on in the United States. That you got two big players in the United States, which is Samsung and Apple. This is all you see here in the United States. And unfortunately, Huawei is almost a goner, and ZTE is a goner. So, and look, me and Mike talked about this on this show. Man, I don't know. This is scary, right, Mike? When it comes down to in the next 2 years, are we going to only have two players in the building?
It is. That's the thing that, you know, I understand the fragmentation factor for Android. That completely makes sense. I mean, if you make your product inside and out, including the operating system, obviously everything's built to work properly, and that's always been the advantage that Apple has had with their equipment. But like you said, what's happening little by little, and I don't know if you guys heard this today, I read a story that said Huawei is actually working on kind of a fallback plan for an operating system in case they lose their Android licensing. So yeah, little by little, a lot of these Chinese manufacturers may not be able to use Android anymore, which makes Samsung is what's left. You got Samsung, you got Apple, and the moment that happens, here's what we always find on my side of the counter, because we repair, we sell, we buy phones, you know, we deal with people all day long that wouldn't know the first thing about what we're talking about right here. All they know is, look, here's what I want my phone to do. Here's what it does. I'm happy, make that happen. Well, you go, okay. And by far, what we see the most is what the average person is used to. That's what they like, because like Craig mentioned earlier, the moment you do something different, what's the first thing you notice? What you don't have anymore, right? When wireless was launched and we had spots, you know, like dead spots where you couldn't use your phone, and you go, well, I'm going to switch from T-Mobile over to AT&T because I can't get reception here. The first thing you notice is, well, AT&T doesn't cover this other spot where you used to have coverage. Now all of a sudden they're the worst carrier in the world. You know, to an extent, the grass is always greener, but devices are different because we're so heavily invested. We have that money in. You got a $1,000 phone, you're going to love it one way or another for the most part. Not too many people are going to say, I was a fool to buy this, it's terrible. You know, most of the time,
it's all about that commitment.
Very small imperfections, and say, you know, for the most part, but you get used to it. and you stick with it. And we've seen that Apple and Samsung have been able to succeed at a level that none of these other players have done in the US. And what you mentioned is so spot on, man. If this continues, there will be two players in the game. And you could as easily say that those players are iOS and Android, because once Samsung becomes synonymous with Android, you get to pick one of the two. Do you like iOS or do you like Android? Because if you do, you're getting Samsung. And for someone like yourself, well, all you guys, anybody who's doing reviews, all of a sudden you got a flagship from this company A and company B, and that's it. I mean, how many videos can you make this versus that?
But for the consumer, though, for the average consumer, you know you're not going to get crap from either of those companies, really. You're not going to get some. You're going to pay a premium, but you're not going to get something that really is garbage in 6 months because the guy at Best Buy said, well, this is on sale for $199. And so it's not a bad world. It's not like you're stuck with only Android or only iOS. You're like, the top players are only two choices.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from.
I think that's
most people that works. Absolutely. I'm not going to argue.
For the tech people,
we have reliable products. They have good warranties on them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to nitpick here and say that, yes, most Samsung and Apple phones do have defects that we find out about later on, because that's what I deal with every day. So I'm a little biased because every iPhone customer and every Samsung customer that I see has a problem with their phone. So that's what we do. But you don't see that stuff advertised, obviously. But, the repair industry, the phone repair industry, third-party repair, and this includes software, manufacturer defects and things like that. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. So there is a decent share of problems with most of the handsets that are on the market. But most of us don't put our phones through the washing machine or run over it with the car, or, put it in our back pocket and sit down on it. So not everyone gets to see all that. But I guess if it's just A and B, but what happens if you want Android and you got a problem with Samsung?
Yeah. And so, you know what, that's one of the things that I wanted to mention, right? And before I answer that question, I want to answer Ryan Martinez. He's in the building. He made a statement here that I think we all kind of disagree with on here. He said up earlier in the comments, he said that we hate Android, but yet we on Google Hangouts. We never say we hated Android, okay? Because listen, we got all Android devices sitting in the building. I got Android devices all over the place. So we don't hate Android. We just putting self-awareness out there and giving the consumer a choice. Now, when we talking about two choices, for the average consumer that does not want to pay $1,000 for phones, it's our responsibility as tech reviewers to give people alternatives. These are $200 phones, and this was running 8.1, very good phone for $200+ bucks. This phone was $199, and so it's our responsibility that even though we got two big players in the building, but we got some smaller players that does the exact same performance. It is amazing how the gap has closed when it comes out of performance. Body stock. Think about this. When did you ever see in the history of smartphones a phone that looked this good for $200? Never. But now we're seeing that. We are seeing that now. So the shift have changed. Go ahead.
But what's the catch, though?
Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
What's the catch? Because I mean, just being someone from iOS, I haven't, why is that a $200 phone and what are you giving up for it?
So for $200 phone, what you're giving up is obviously you saving $800.
That's what feature-wise.
Feature-wise, the operating system run pretty good.
Yeah.
You're giving up, you're giving up probably cameras a little bit, but here's the thing. If you put it on Snapchat, if you put it on Instagram, if you put it on social media, it's all getting downgraded anyway, so no big deal on that. What are you giving up? Wow, man, think about what you're gaining. You're gaining better. Most of your mid-tiers going to give you better life. 2 days better life. Most of your mid-tiers.
The label.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess my question, it's like if you've ever gone to Home Depot and you buy paint rollers, it says good better, best. And it's almost, I feel like from Android, you need that for the customers in a sense. It's like good, and then read the details on what might be missing. Better, and this is what you're going to get. Only the future-proof people. That's one thing with Apple. There's not, unless you go buy that one that's going to be retired, the grandma, or no, sorry, that could be offensive, an older person, someone who's not tech savvy, you know, who's not going to read a YouTube review. Right, they're just going to walk in. They should see good, better, best.
Well, you know what? To your defense, I would agree. If an average consumer come to me, my mom, my dad, you know, listen, all the teenagers. Let's put this in perspective.
Oh yeah,
all the teenagers, mom, dad, iOS. That right there. We know for sure that mom, dad, and all the teenagers from 21 years down is all on iOS. I'm convinced of that right now. All right, none of them running. I've never seen a teenager that's running Galaxy S9s. You don't see that in teenagers. Either they running iOS. That's it. So when you talk about like Android really kind of catered to the, I want to say, the 25 to 35-year-old crowd, the one that like to tinker around with phones and like to do some customization and stuff like that. But once you get past the 40 to 50-year-old, iOS, you know, I mean, how could you recommend? I could think about, could I go to my mom? And then listen, I know what Ace gonna say.
No, here's the deal. Look, here's the deal. Look, you got a lot of people these days that just want to be dumb. They just want to be dumb.
No,
you got people these days, they want everything handed to them. They don't want to think. They don't want to try. They want to play these video games. They want everyone to be the same. Fuck that. I don't mean to be cussing. I hate cussing like that. But people need to be smart, man. You got to get on Google. Google's where it's at, period.
But that's where you'll get Google. But you still get Google, right, on iOS.
It's not the same. I don't support Apple. I support Google, period.
But that's where, like, I would say, though, is we're at a point, though, that as an iOS user, that I can see someone safely recommending a Samsung product to a family member. That if it's in the store and it's not heavily discounted, you're probably going to be okay. You're going to run into somebody that knows how to use it. You're not going to be left on your own. You know, I mean, it's like, I think that's why those two are the top of the pile.
Do you guys want to know what I do? Do you want to know what I do, like with my dad? My dad was trying to pretend he was helpless and he didn't know how to do this or that. I sat down and I'm like, look, dude, we're going to learn how to use this phone. It's not hard. He's using my old Samsung Galaxy S6. I'm like, do this, dude. And I sat there with him, you know, because I'm a trainer. In my career field, I'm also a trainer. I know how to train people. You're going to sit your ass there. You're going to learn how to use it. Stop crying. Because Easy was saying the other day, like if somebody doesn't get the green bubble, I don't even know what the green bubble is. I'll tell you what, it's just, you know, send a text message, you know, it's not a big deal, man. You know, I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what happened. And this is real. If you don't know, ask teenagers, man. They will tell you if they don't see the blue bubble. If you text them and they don't see the blue bubble, they won't answer you back.
Well, I gotta say though, from some of the people I know, you say teenagers have iPhones. A lot of times, someone else is buying that iPhone. People I know that went Android is because they couldn't get the iPhone at that point. They were like, I ain't paying for that. I'm gonna get this for free. So I mean, I think some exposure. Ex-iPhone people at times could be because they had to buy their own.
You know what, Craig? You make a good point. You make a good point. Buy one, get one free. That's what you see in the Android world. You won't see that on iOS.
What? Whoa! What are you talking about?
You see iPhone, buy one, get one free iPhones? Did you see an iPhone 10?
A buddy of mine, though, he didn't want to pay the iTag price. He got something from Best Buy that was a crappy Android. He hated using it, didn't know anybody that could help him with it, and then he spends $200 on an iPhone 4S from somebody who wanted to dump it. Where it's like, okay, I don't know how much you saved with this experiment, but the fact that was out there for him to buy, I think is a shame. It's like,
guys, can I say something here? Can I please say something here? This is making me crazy. Look, I know a lot of people, they go and they get like a Note, I almost called it the Note 9. They go and they get a Note 8, right? Or they go and they get their S9 Plus, and they don't do nothing with it. They're watching Netflix. I'm like, learn how to use your Google Drive. Learn how to use your reminders. Learn how to use it for what it's made for, to be productive, to make money, to do stuff with it. People are just doing stupid things with their phones. So, I mean, if you want to do stupid stuff, I mean, whatever, it's a free country. But, man, you got to do stuff. You got to do productive things. And that's where the Google Apps comes into play. And that's another thing I tell people. You get somebody with an Android phone, they're using a different service for their calendar, a different service for their maps, a different service for everything. When all you got to do is sign into your Gmail account and utilize it as Google going on. And the best part about that is, say you do have something going wrong. You just get a hold of Google. But say you're using some hillbilly's map service from Kansas, right? And the damn thing breaks. You got to get a hold of that dude. And then say your calendar service that's like some Mexican in San Diego and that breaks. Then you got to go over there, you know. I mean, that's what happens. It's better to be all inclusive, man, and just get it going.
Let me ask you a question, Ace.
Yo,
see, I have a question.
I have answers.
Shout out to the Samsung Knights in the building. I know the Samsung Knights is in the building. You're a Samsung guy, and I know you're a Google guy. You're a Google guy because you change it up. You're a Google guy. Here's the thing. Yeah, you're a Samsung guy. You're a Google guy. But here's the thing. I think that by you never using an iPhone before, you're a little, obviously you're biased because you love your Google stuff. But I can tell you, and Craig can protest to this, all the Google services work very well on iOS. And so when we talk about, you know, Samsung does this, and the Pixel does this, and you could do this on Android, you could do this on Android. If you take away customization, if you take away, like, because on Android, you could customize your phone, you could tweak it, you could do everything you want. And iOS is clean and simple. You got a grid of icons. You see a name, you hit it, it opens. So when you talk about the simple part of iOS, and if you want to Google Hangouts, if you want to use Google Drive, if you want to use Google anything, it does work on iOS.
I use Chrome at times, Google Drive for work. I mean, all of those things work well.
Let's get Mike in here. What your perspective is, Mike?
I know I said a lot at the beginning. I just have one main concern with this whole idea of having Samsung and Apple, and that's it. And that's going to be that you will have, whoever wants to be on iOS, they're there, or they're going to get there one way or another. We know that, right? So if you sign up for Apple, you got Apple, you're good, because they have one choice for you. It's Apple. But if you're an Android user and somehow Samsung becomes the only representation of Android in the marketplace, where is their motivation to innovate and to improve on their product and to say, hey, somebody else makes an Android device, but ours is better because of this. If they're in a position, like we looked at all these carriers being blocked, and I don't know if you guys heard this, they put a bid in for T-Mobile to buy Sprint just a couple days ago. Yeah. And these mergers have been blocked in the past because if we get it down to what they call a duopoly, where there's only two carriers left, then these guys get together and go, hey, let's make as much money as we can, and nobody can complain about it. We got an agreement between carrier A and carrier B that we control the prices, and that's when we have to worry about more regulations being applied to keep these, to prevent these monopolies from happening. If the same thing happens with Samsung and they're the only Android that you see, we would have to, we're going to look at somebody trying to come in and legislate and say, okay, if you're going to be on Android in the US, you have to do things our way. And most people don't like any more government intervention into businesses and the way that people do businesses. So for me, that's my main concern. I want Android, I want Apple, and I want Samsung, and I want everybody out there to continue to try to do the best that they can to give their customers the most value for their dollar. And once that incentive is gone, we've seen it before. When somebody takes over and they have a monopoly on something, like the utility company, the government has to come in and start getting involved and say, we're going to regulate your prices, because you could say, hey, your electric bill is going to be $1,000 a month. And if you don't like it, you can unplug. Right. You can't do that. It doesn't work. There are reasons why we have to prevent that. So I would rather see the free marketplace continue to let consumers decide what they like and what they don't like than to narrow it down to two competitors and say you got choice A and choice B, because I don't think that's good for us.
But what's happening in the United States, but it's not happening internationally, but it's happening in the United States. You got Apple and Samsung that has the pull, that has the money, they have the structure that's really trying to make this happen. Now overseas, you got your Xiaomi, you have your Oppos, you have your Huawei. Overseas, that a lot of those consumers, they flourish with those devices. And then in the United States, we stuck. I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why we stuck like that in the United States. It's because of how the system works. Your average consumer does not walk into a Best Buy and drop $800 on a phone. They will go to the mobile department and give them $100 or $200 and get a device payment plan. See, that's the biggest issue that we have in the United States. I think because internationally, it's no type of device payment plan. You have to pay however much that device is. That's why people complain about why iPhones cost $1,500 equivalent to United States prices. Because in the United States, I think you think about this in the United States, I think people would make smarter choices if they had to pay for a phone up front.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
people would go to these type of phones for $200 if they know that if they got to pay $1,100 on the iPhone 10, you probably won't even see them. You'll see a few
American
of them.
way, though. Easy that you got to buy now, pay later, man. That's what everybody that I'm going to like for a year and pay for it for the next 36 months. Because that's where a lot of people find themselves. We see it all the time.
Yeah. But I think, this is one of the things that Samsung and Apple got that control over. You think about this. You don't have to market Apple in the United States because everybody knows when the new iPhone come out, they're going to get it. And Samsung really don't have to market too much in the United States because, when you walk into a retail store, how many variants of Samsung devices that they have floating around there? Samsung got the Galaxy this, the Galaxy that, the Galaxy this, the Galaxy this, the Y2 Jelly Galaxy. All this jelly, all this Galaxy stuff is all around the place. And so I think Samsung used that marketing Galaxy because that pops up in people's head. What kind of phone do you have? I have a Galaxy phone. It could be the Galaxy Prime. It could be the Galaxy this. It could be the Galaxy that. So I think Samsung have that control over it. And plus you think about the sales value. Just think about if you work for AT&T, a sales guy. When the customer walk in the door, it's an easy sell. You can sell this real fast. It's going to be difficult to sell this because you got to explain it. What is this? What is that? A phone like this or a Samsung device, easy sell, get them in and get them out. So I think that's
the nice part, though. Like going back to the worry of kind of like the two carriers, only the two big guys, is the one thing that is kind of nice is everybody's trying to meet their bottom line. They could potentially kind of agree on the pricing structure, but then you risk, other people trying to come in. But anyways, my point bringing that up, I like the two big boys because I like the money that's in there. I like that they push each other because they need that market share. Because I do some Samsung developer conference stuff from the technical end, and I was watching the show, and as an iOS fan, when I saw that they could actually take a phone to an old school credit card machine and duplicate a credit card swipe, I'm like, that's badass. But that's R&D money that the little guy isn't doing. So they're doing that to try to beat Apple, and then Apple's trying to beat them. So the competition and the fact that it's not a utility that you could just agree on price doesn't scare me as much because they need the slow growth is affecting them now. Like people are slowing down.
But are we? But when we talk about slow growth, did they just got astronomically expensive all of a sudden, right? Things went from $649 for the iPhone 6. Yeah. Remember, $649 to $1,000.
But Samsung tried it, and then now they're going, oh, it's not working. It's not working. We're going to have to make the next one come out at $899, and then it could go. I'm reading articles that the next iPhone is going to have to drop in price. They've already shown that the market is telling them you're pushing too hard. So because of the growth isn't there. So it's I think there's a point both companies are doing it. They're trying to see how much they could get out of it, but they've established a minimal threshold of quality. And I don't know. Once you cross that threshold where you realize what quality is, it's hard to go back. You know. So
yes. Mike, what you think? You think the $1,000 phone? I mean, think about this, Mike. Samsung is going to release a Galaxy X device that's going to be a foldable phone. Now we already at the $1,000 price point for phones. What is the next threshold are we looking at with phones?
I got to point out, you know, we don't know all of the details, but at this point in time, all signs point to most consumers are not buying the iPhone 10. Most iPhone users are not upgrading to the iPhone 10. They're selling more of previous generations than before. There's a lot of talk about the iPhone 10 being discontinued this year. I mean, we don't know. This is, you know, leaks, as they call them, and Apple's saying that they don't want anybody to leak stuff. And come on, it's going to happen every year. And I always question what is a leak really? I mean, because it all helps build sales hype. Come on. Don't tell me that, oh, we accidentally let some girl bring her camera to the Apple campus and take a picture. Really? Come on, how dumb do I look? But I think that they will push it, but there's going to be a point, and I think after getting over that, that $1,000 hump, what we talked about on Thursday is that it's all going to do with the financing. You know, if you can tell people, look, you can walk out of this store with this today, with this amount of money down, and that price point works, it's not really going to matter as much about, you know, they might agree to $2,000. I don't know. You know, the whole thing is, what do I get today if I give you X amount of dollars? And that it's a mentality that a lot of people have, you know, live for today. Don't worry about it. We'll pay it off later. No interest until, you know, December. And then they sneak something by and you miss one payment and all of a sudden you got all that accrued interest. But the next threshold, man, I don't know, 1,200.
But ain't the carriers being the little devils right now by doing this crappy leasing stuff that you don't even own the phone? I mean, that's got to be the most terrible thing on the planet, right? I mean, that's sabotage, guys. I've been talking about this for a while. Leasing the phone is sabotage. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because after a year of having that phone, you trade that, you don't own it. You want to upgrade to the next one. Say Galaxy S9. You got to take that Galaxy S8. You got to trade it in, but it better be in prestige edition. And that's where they get you at right there, because they're going to send you an email. They're going to send you a letter in the mail, say, hey, the Galaxy S8 had a cracked back, cracked screen, got dents all on it. I can't give you fair market price for it. So now you stuck paying two phones.
See, that's
so
where
I think this. Go ahead.
Apple, the one thing, though, that I do appreciate, because I went through and ordered through their upgrade program, because I'm like, you know what? I could pay for this thing. I don't want to sell the damn phone. And if I'm paying outright, you want to give me 0% interest and I pay for what I'm actually using, fine. If I decide to trade it up, I don't have to meet anybody that I met on Craigslist, and, you know, I'll lose a couple $100 in the deal. It's part of me liking the tech. I'm good with that. But what they did when I traded in my 8 Plus, it says as long as there's no crack on the screen and no water damage, it was minimal. It's like you can have the same scratch. Anything they won't cover because it is just surface, you know, cosmetic damage. They don't hold you to that cosmetic damage standard either. So there's no double standard. They're like, hey, sorry, you can't use Apple Care on that because it's cosmetic. Well, they don't jerk you around. So
yeah, but as an average consumer, it put it in your mind that you got to babyfy your phone. I mean, you got the beautiful phone. I mean, you got to put it in the case. You got to put it on a pillow. I mean, you got to, make sure you don't get no water on it. You don't let nobody touch it, because you got to trade it in a year, because you can look at it, but you can't touch it.
The confusing part is I don't understand getting the phone from the carrier. I'm like, you're gonna make payments, but you married these guys for a few years. Where I like going through Apple, I'm like, hell, I walked into Verizon leaving AT&T. I'm like, I'm not paying for shit. I'm not in a contract. I am free for the first time in my life, and I will commit to none of you ever again. So that's where going direct to Apple, I was carrier free. I don't understand being tied to any of them. You're like, you're 2 years in a contract again. I'm like, why? You're paying full price to be married to these people, or paying overpriced to be married to them.
Most of the phones that you're going to get from Verizon and AT&T right now can be unlocked. So, and this is a core of our business as well, is people coming in saying, I'm tired of Verizon. I have to pay them for this phone, but I don't want their service. I don't want to buy the service anymore. We unlock the phone. They put it on AT&T. They put it on T-Mobile. So,
but they have to pay for it though, right? They have to buy out the phone. They have to buy out the phone, though.
You've got to buy your phone no matter where you get it from. You have to pay for it.
No, right? I know, but the kid on the payment plan for 2 years who has horrible service, but he locked into this horrible upgrade thing and can't get out of it. That's where, like, I mean, I could go and write the check tomorrow and say, I'm done with you. I mean, that's fine. You can go unlock it and do it. But if you can't, you got 2 years. That's what I mean. You're paying full price to be stuck.
Well, but they don't have contracts anymore, so you're not obligated to the service.
But when you do the lease, you have a 24-month lease. Now that's what I'm saying is you're tied to it. Why would you lease from the carrier? You married someone who's making you pay full price.
Why would you rent to I don't know, but it's a huge business.
Yeah, you know what? Rent-A-Center, right? That Rent-A-Center. I just thought about that, right? I mean, you buy a TV for Rent-A-Center or something, and you miss a payment. You got somebody knocking on your door after 6 months, and
people
like,
want it now. They're convinced they need the best. They need it now. Doesn't matter how they pay for it. Everyone else has it. I got to have it too. I mean, there is that mentality exists, and it's a prevalent one.
Are we spoiled in the United States though? I mean, are we getting to the point where we spoiled that you could go out?
I don't think. Hold on a minute here. I don't think we're spoiled in the United States. Americans are some hard workers. I know a lot of Americans that are working 2 and 3 jobs, and they're still in the poverty level. So that's another story right there. But like on the real, let's get real with these phones.
Never been a better time to be poor.
I'm telling you, I mean, and you got a point there. There's a lot of fat, poor people running around, but that's another story. Okay, but as far as people paying for like their phone up front and the carriers and blah blah blah, look, I just saw somebody in the comment section say something about like nobody talks about what line of work that we're in, right? Like I only have like a little over 1,000 subscribers on my channel, so it's obvious no one's sending me anything. So yeah, I'm buying all this stuff, but
me too.
You know. I got a couple things going on. Long story short, though, I go to work, and it works out.
Well, I mean, people ask that question to me all the time. They always ask me, "What do I do for a living?" I actually made a lot of videos about that. I mean, look, for everybody that don't know, that us YouTubers, the smaller YouTube channels, I mean, obviously, we have to purchase these products unless you get offered through some deals that you work out with some OEMs. But other than that, I mean, we all got to sacrifice and get this stuff. And I think that's the hurting thing to a lot of small YouTubers. We work out due diligence to spend $1,000 on the phone, because most of us YouTubers, we don't get phones on contracts, guys. We have to buy these phones out because, I mean, you think about it, I got 78 phones. I can't have 78 lines. So, I mean, one of the things you have to kind of, spend the money to get this stuff done. But at the end of the day, we do it for fun. We do it because we were trying to get the information out. I think that's my purpose. That's why I do it. But I think one of the things that when we talk about in the United States is because I have a lot of people on my show from different countries. And they make the comments that, wow, y'all in the United States is privileged, and we don't have that type of privilege out here in the UK or Canada. And I think about, if you watch a lot of my shows, I have a bunch of people on there from different countries and stuff, and they tell us that they growing pains of being even a YouTuber or just a citizen, that you can't just go and say, okay, I want to put $100 on the phone and I want to get an $800 phone and on contract or something like that. Now, they do have some carriers that work some deals out, but for the most part, most people have to pay up front for their stuff. And I look at that and I see how us in the United States, that we do have this thing that we could just walk in and a sales guy say, hey, look, if you buy one, add a line and get the second one for free. And they make it so easy and convenient in carrier stores, even if you go to Apple or whatever, for you to get a phone today. It don't matter your income level.
No.
It don't matter your credit status. It doesn't matter anything. If you got a few bucks in your pocket, you can always walk in a carrier and walk out with something.
Yeah, and that's where, like, I hate the idea of my life being regulated by government. I just feel like there's a few times you need to step in and do what's right for the people. Like, 0% down on a house with no interest only, and you make $7,000 a year. That's not in their best interest. And then we have a financial crisis. Everybody being able to just buy everything on credit. I'm like, oh, that's the only, it's like, this isn't in their best interest, but hey, free market business does what it does, and people have to do. You can't protect everybody and have them make the right financial choices. So,
yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think that, I remember back then, a long time ago, when they started this device payment plan, and people had to start paying. Like, remember, if I'm not mistaken, when you buy a Galaxy Note, you had to pay a little more, because the Galaxy Note was always expensive. So, like, you always used to pay $199. $199 was the price. Yeah. Remember, $199. Then we got to the Galaxy Note, it was always $299 or $399.
Yeah. Yep.
And so now, when phones are starting to go so expensive, are the carriers going to try to get a little more percentage up front and then kind of spread it out through? I mean, think about it. AT&T doing 30 months, for Christ's sake. 30 months. I never thought we would get to those days that we spending 30 months paying for a phone, but that's the plan.
Yeah, that's just scary to me. I mean, it's just scary that's the kind of doors that have been opened, and that people are going through those doors.
I mean, are we going to get to 40 months and 50 months paying for a phone? I mean, that's the direction we going. I mean, we already at 30 months. We was at 24. Now AT&T doing 30. I mean, 24 months was already too long to pay for a phone. But now
Easy, I gotta tell you, man. I remember when I paid for my Nexus 6, brand new. I think that phone was like $600, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I honestly felt like I was crazy when I was hitting that yes button when I was buying it. I was like, damn, because up until then, I think the most I ever spent was like $250. Like back, like even 5 years ago, I used to say stuff like, my limit is $250. I will not spend more for a phone. Now here I am now. I don't even blink an eye to spend $1,000, you know what I mean, $800, $900. I just like, fuck it, hit the yes button, done. It's crazy what's happened, But I have a budget. I have a budget. Don't get me wrong. I have a budget on phones. I try to set a budget for myself for a year, okay? And I try to keep that budget at about $5,000 for the year with tech, not just for phones, with tech in general. But I usually just do phones. I'm an Android guy. I'm a Samsung, Pixel, and Moto person. So I try to have $5,000 set aside for the year for that.
But could you imagine a family man going to the Oracle?
Whoops.
Hey, Easy Computer. He left.
Hey, wait, I lost y'all for a second. I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm back. Could you imagine going to the Oracle, a family man, and tell an Oracle that's our wife that we got to spend $1,000 on the phone?
That's why I've tried to diversify as much as possible. And I'm an iPhone user, so I'm not going to be open-minded.
I mean, it's always a little difficult. What you think about that, Mike?
I'm sitting here. Okay, I'm trying to think because I'm in the phone business, so to me it's a little different. I get opportunities all the time to get phones, but I'm trying to put myself in the mind space of where if I didn't have any association with phone game at all, and I just went out to buy something, what would I be spending my money on, and how much would I be willing to spend? And it just occurred to me that most of us have way more phone than we even know what to do with. Yeah. Like you were talking about, or you guys were talking about earlier, all the stuff that Android can do, all the stuff that iOS can do. I'm finding features on this phone, this iPhone 8, that I didn't even know was there. Like to this day, there's little things that you can change, you can adjust. And to be honest, I use about 5 apps on this phone. I do my email, I do text messaging, I take pictures. You know, I don't even do YouTube on my phone. It just, I'm not going to watch it on this tiny screen. But realistically, how much money would I spend? I don't think I would buy $1,000 phone, honestly. And then when you talked about the Oracle, I'm talking about my girl and thinking about how she likes to stress test and durability test every phone she gets her hands on. So we have to replace them quite regularly. And yeah, we're both in the same position of, yeah, neither one of us, I don't think, would drop $1,000 on a phone today. Maybe if it was gold plated. I can't think of anything that it could do for me that would be worthwhile. You know, if I honestly, man, if I can talk and text, I don't care about FaceTime and touch, 3D touch and all this crazy stuff. And you know, some of them have things I like, some don't. But to whoever's buying $1,000 phone, congratulations to you for being able to do that. Man, I can only say I'm envious. I don't have $1,000 to spend on a phone. Personally.
Well, see, and like I work in the entertainment industry. I'm a lighting designer, so I've been doing that for 25 years in the lighting industry. And I do live events, and you want good color rendering, and you want it to look accurate in low light. And so something like that, you start factoring those things in, and you're like, who has the best camera? It's the 8 Plus, or it's got to be an iPhone 10. And you start seeing those differences. But yeah, like totally what you're saying, though. People aren't using so many of those features.
God, and it blows me away. These things do everything.
I do want to change lives here, and I want to help the people. And I think one of the most important things that I'd like to share with everybody, because I have to leave in a few minutes, is the Starbucks mobile ordering app. Everybody should download that. You should never walk into a Starbucks and stand in line again. It will make you happy and open your world. Right? It works in the drive-through. But man, I leave my house, press go, I walk in, no human interaction, and walk away. That's the app you need. It will change your life. Check it out. You will thank me, and you'll subscribe to my channel.
That's the best part. No human interaction whatsoever.
None.
Just give me my coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. Give me my coffee.
I would give a huge shout out to Craig. I would give a huge shout out to Craig. And man, you know what? I tell you what, I really do appreciate you coming to the show. And I know you got the bug out. And you know, look, the conversation go fast. Time go fast when you're talking good tech. So yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, I would love to have you back, and hopefully we get you back.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna get going now. You guys have a good one. Great talking.
Take care, buddy.
You too. Take care.
You know what? That when we talk about technology, that's what I'm talking about. The convenience of getting on your Starbucks app, because I do it now. And when I'm leaving out, I walk right in Starbucks. I got my beverage. I'm good to go. No waiting in line, no strings attached, no nothing. And this is where we at in technology. Technology does everything. For Christ's sakes, I got a robot. When did for sakes, when did we ever thought that these are the days? I remember watching iRobot, and I was like, I would want one of them one day. And now the days are here. We are at that point. I mean,
you know, one other thing, and Craig kind of gave me the idea to mention this, and I keep forgetting about it. I got to remind myself, but probably two of the other most useful things about having a phone with the camera, I don't take notes anymore. I was never good at taking notes. My handwriting is terrible. I can't remember things to save my life. Now I can talk into this little box, and the accuracy on the voice to text will make me a note. Or if I got a document I need to record, bam, there's a picture. Why would I try to write down and copy anything at this point? Like it's there. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's where we at. You know, because like if you open up, I believe, I know a text document, or if you open up, like a document, and you talk on your phone, it's doing everything for you. And wow, man, I mean, we are definitely at those times right now that you can open up a Word document and your phone can do dictation, and it will, type up everything perfectly. And I talk about this a lot. Like when I was in college, I used to use the Galaxy Note tablets. It was a feature on the Galaxy Note that as my professor was talking, I was recording his voice and I was jotting down notes at the same time. So when I got home, I was able to listen to my professor and all my notes were just popping up in chronological order. That is awesome. Now, Samsung kind of took some of those features away, but not only that, but it was uploaded to the cloud. And to this day, after I graduated from college, I can still retain all my notes and all my information digitally. That's awesome.
Hey, Easy. I'm reading a comment right here, and somebody just said, where did it go? Technology is destroying your communication skills. So with that being said, I want to get live on here, and I want to get crazy on here the way you guys do on Wine Wednesday, and let's bring the heat to this conversation, because I don't believe that. I think if a person's smart, they can use social media and they can use tech to improve their communication skills. That's what I've done. I do a lot of speaking at my job. That's what I use my YouTube channel for. I talk on my YouTube channel, so then when I go to my job, I'm over there giving a speech in front of people, and it makes it better. And and it works both ways. So if a person has an open mind, then yes, they can use their phone. Because I hear all these older people, what I mean by older people like 40 years and older, they say stuff like, oh, these phones are messing people up. Well, if you're an idiot, it's messing you up. But if you have common sense and you know how to balance things out, people have to be taught things. You just don't learn. You know, you just don't wake up one day knowing what 9 times 9 is. You have to be taught by other people, and you have to have balance. And I use my phone. Okay, we're at what, 24 hours a day, right? I use my phone 8 hours a day. I talk to people 8 hours a day, and then I sleep the other 8 hours, and then for 2 hours I'm watching porno. That's 26 hours. I got you guys. That's 26 hours. You guys got to be quick when you mess with me. Long story short, though, technology should be making us smarter and better. That's why when you go to my channel, I'm always telling people, use your reminders, use your calendar, use your alarm clock, get up and get your ass to work. Don't just be sitting around. And I mean, I'm kind of a stick in the mud, but whatever. You know what?
Ace, I agree with you. Here's the thing. When we talk about technology, when you online, you're reading, that means you're stimulating the mind. That's one thing. So let's talk about what technology and communicational skills. If you want to know the answer to a question, you can Google it. Not only that you Google it, but you read it and you retaining it. I believe that wholeheartedly, that even though you're using technology to get the answer, but you are retaining that knowledge because you're reading it. And reading is always good. One of the biggest challenges that we had when we was young was that we didn't want to pick up a book and read. But now, since we're reading on our phones and tablets, we are reading more. We are socializing more. We are communicating more, but not how we used to communicate back in the 70s. We communicating a lot more by typing. Think about this, typing skills, right? Even though you got autocorrect, I promise you that the first time that device autocorrect, you won't get that. You won't make the same mistake twice. That's the point. So I just said, for instance, you typing something in the phone, autocorrect you. That means you saw that. You saw that you made that mistake. That means your mind has stimulated that you won't make that same mistake twice. So I do agree with you, Ace, that technology is not dumbifying us. It's making us smarter because we have to stimulate the mind. We're reading, we're on social media, we know about all the drama, we get up-to-date news. Think about it. Anytime you got a massive school shooting, right? What happens? Social media is on top of it. So we get up-to-date news, we're reading, we get all the drama, obviously. So you're right. I agree with you that that when it comes down to stimulating the mind, communicational skills, learning a lot, I think the technology we have in phones and tablets is doing us justice.
Yes, and they are. And here's the deal, too. A lot of people don't understand this. Our brains are plastic, right? I know a little bit about this. I'm not a doctor or anything, but our brains are plastic, right? You can use your phone to make yourself stupid. Say all you're doing is looking at porno, right? Say you're just looking on a porno site, right? That will make you dumb. But say you're on a website that you're learning something. And look, like with me, I don't know if you guys noticed this on my channel yet, but like with my phones, whenever I get a phone, I'm always outside with it. I'm always taking pictures outside. I review my phone outside. I review my phone outdoors. Then when I come back to my little, whatever you want to call this, my wannabe YouTube studio, then I do my review. but everything's done outdoors. So my technology gets me outside. So you always hear these old people saying nonsense like, oh man, all you people do is stay in your mom's basement and play on your phone. It's like, no, I don't, you old retard. What I'm doing is I go everywhere with my phone. I'm learning how to make my life better and more efficient. I'm not just staying inside the house. I'm getting it going, man. And my phone gets me out there.
Yeah, so wait, when you talk about porn, though, you are learning something from porn, man.
You learn from something from porn, but you already know how to do it. You don't need porn. Okay, now this is. I'm going to try to compete with Wine Wednesday. I am competing with Wine Wednesday right now. I'm competing with the ladies. Let me tell you guys what happened with the porno. Here's what porno has done to men these days, right? Especially anybody that's under the age of 35 or 30. See, back when I was 13 years old and back when Easy was 13, he was having to sneak to the porno shop and having to get the porno, right? And it was hard. You had to work to get that porno. You had to borrow it from your big brother. You had to do all this stuff, right? Now, you just get on your phone and you're like, oh man, let me check out this booty, right? That's not work, man. You're supposed to work for it.
Mike, you got any questions?
Bring it, Mike. I want to hear what you got to say, Mike. Bring it.
You want to hear? Okay. First, backing up a second.
Yeah.
I agree on both points. And with you, Ace, that technology, all this stuff that people are arguing over, whether it's good or bad or making us smart or dumb, it all comes down to what you do with it. Whatever. And here's the bottom line. We're not going to stop it. No, if you think phones and tablets and computers are the worst thing in the world, even if you're right, I'm sorry, but they're not going away. So we need to be able to deal with them. Whether it makes you dumb or stupid or better or a worse person, that all comes down to how you use it. When it comes to porn, man, I don't want to get graphic, but I'll say this. I will say this. There is a serious problem with people, with young people seeing what they believe is a true relationship between two people not being represented anywhere near like what it is in real life. And that, I believe, impedes their emotional maturity. I'm not saying that porn is going to poison your mind and you're never going to come back. I'm just saying if you think that's how the real world works, trust me, the guys that are writing those movies, that's not how it goes down. That's not reality. That's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But we're moving towards robots that are capable of being companions, so maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. What's right around the corner? Some crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, you know what? And we talk about a $1 billion industry that they already have 360 porn, right? That you put the virtual glasses on. That's all. That stuff is out, by the way. So you have the 360 glasses. That stuff is out now. Because it was somebody at a keynote address mentioned this. They had a whole article about this. They had a booth set up where the guys was able to put the virtual glasses on, and it was like they're doing what they got. And I know it's a money-making industry, and I think a lot of us guys that we like that lead that up to the younger generation or whatever. But it is one of those things that's happening. But I don't want to make this tech talk about porn and so let's get off that subject. But I just wanted to touch bases as far as I at first I used to think about that as far as all these phones, tablets, computers are making the generation dumber. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when I was in high school, and again I'm telling my age, we didn't have computers. We didn't have 8 air conditioners, for Christ's sake. We had to have the windows open. We was hot as hell in classrooms when I was young. And we had a library. We had to actually go there, look for the book, and try to find the chapters and stuff like that. But what technology did, it simplified it, yes, but it took the time wasted for me spending 2 hours trying to find a book. Now it's right here in 5 minutes. That means I could take the time to do better research paper. It takes time for me to do my research because I could Google some stuff to make sure that the stuff that I'm talking about is correct and stuff like that. So I think technology from back, again, we telling our age, this, Ace. back when we was coming up in high school, it wasn't even nothing. Kids today, I don't understand why kids don't get A's on every. I don't understand why a kid today does not get an A on every exam, everything.
Easy.
You got
can I say something real quick, Easy? With the technology we have today, because let me tell you something. When I was in school, I was the guy that cheated on everything, okay? Because in my opinion, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Fuck losing. I don't lose at anything. And I'll tell you something right now. If I was in school right now, I'd have some fucking Google glasses, right? And the teacher would be like, what's that? And more than likely, I'd have some, like, some teacher from the Fred Flintstone days. Oh, they're just my glasses. My mom made me wear them, right? So I'd have some Google Glass. So whenever they're asking questions about, like, dioxin, like chloric, riboic acid, I'd be looking at the answer on the glass, right? So, I mean, what the hell?
You know what? When you talk about cheating, and again, when I was in college, right, and you're right, professors need to get updated just like technology, because my professor, we had Android Wear. And again, Android Wear been out for a while, but this is like the first generation Android Wear. And I had a tablet that was connected to the network. So when you got Android Wear, and I think it was an app that's called Evernote. I had my whole assignment on Evernote, uploaded it to my Android Wear, and I'm in class, like I'm reading the whole document, man, and I'm taking the test, man. I'm like, yeah, and the professor like, oh, you keep looking at your watch. Yeah, I'm just looking at the time. And they didn't know about how technology has advanced so much that you can look at your watch and you got Evernote popped up on there, and it's just crazy now that if professors, and now some of the professors have been upgraded, but it's just so funny that, when we deal with technology, and again, Ace, cheating. Is it really cheating? Because, I mean, most of your teachers really want you to pass, right? So they give you the answer because they believe that, again, the mind is stimulating the answers, right? I mean, I don't know. In college, we had to write these long dissertations and stuff like that. It was a nightmare, but, I don't know. I mean, college is different from high school. I mean, but I go back to this. I say this all the time. It's no reason why a high school student fail. How could you fail in high school? How? You got technology. I mean, if once the teacher give you the assignment, you got the book and you got the internet. You can't fail. How could you fail in today's technology? I mean, even with math, because remember, look, a lot of kids get crossed up in trigonometry, going through algebra 1, algebra 2, algebra 3. Listen, math is difficult, but I found so many YouTube channels that focus just on math. They do math. And so when it comes down to students and learning and nowadays, I just don't see no reason why a student, because now they got programs just like when you write these long paragraphs or doing a book report, they got websites where you could take the whole thing and upload it, and it's going to let you know whether or not you plagiarized it, your punctuation, run-on sentences. It tells you everything. They call plagiarism checkers, right?
Yes.
They got plagiarism checkers out there online. This is the type of stuff that we didn't even have when I was in school. So
I know
it's insane how kids nowadays don't know.
Okay, easy. I'll tell you what, and this is going to be me competing with Wine Wednesday right here. All right. Now I'm going to bring it. The reason kids are screwing up these days is back when me and Easy were growing up, and this is the truth. Nobody can deny this. When we and Easy were growing up, we were worried about getting our asses kicked by the teachers, by the kids at school, by our parents, by the uncles, by the neighbors. We were worried about the older kids because the older kids used to police the younger kids. So now you got people that are not held accountable anymore. And the kids for so long now, and I hate to sound like an old guy, but I'm going to go to the school shootings. These kids these days have been told, oh, you poor thing, it's okay to feel the way you feel. And now whenever these kids explode, they go and they shoot up the school. Back when we were growing up, if we'd even thought about shooting up anything, we'd have got our ass beat by the whole town.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Back then, we didn't have access to guns. I
did. I grew up in a small town. I did.
Oh, okay. See, you know what? Mike, you could chime in on this, that you're right, because we had cloakrooms and they had teachers that had paddles. All right, so we did used to get paddled, right? If you talk and teacher tell you to talk, and they was talking, giving their assignment, and you didn't shut up, you got paddled. And then not only did you get paddled by the teacher, your parents came in and they paddled you. So you got paddled. Listen, it was
the whole town did it,
right? So you had some things that happened, and you know what? Look at the older generation. We were a lot smarter. Most of us, we got our college education. Most of us, business savvy. Most of us kind of found out when we got our careers. But the younger generation, it is scary. The younger generation, because you can't touch them, you can't tell them nothing. They get in their feelings. They call the police on their own parents. I never heard of that before. Calling the police on your own parents. That is crazy.
I got to tell you guys something though, and I mean, what your name is, Craig or Mark or what?
Mike.
Mike, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to forget your name like that. Long story short, though, here's the deal. I honestly think, because everything goes in cycles, right? I honestly think the good old days are coming back. All it's going to take is for something bad to happen. Let another Great Depression happen. Let some kind of societal breakdown happen. Stuff will get real quick. And then you'll see the ass whippings come back for everybody. And it won't be no joke.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna let Mike chime in there.
Come on, Mike. Talk to us, Mike. Bring it. Bring it, Mike.
We go from tech to ass whippers all of a sudden.
I don't know how we got on that, but I'll say, when I was a kid, they did things the old-fashioned way, and for better or for worse, you didn't hear about crazy stuff and misbehaving and that kind of thing with everybody. Now, there were some people that had behaviors and they didn't respond to any kind of punishment. They kept doing what they're going to do. And you thought, you're going to get, what's going to happen, but it will still happen. But the problem is that some people took it to an extreme. Some people went overboard with it. Kids got hurt. And that's why we have regulations that say, no, you can't pick up a piece of wood and hit a child with it. That's because some people didn't know where to stop, and some people were doing permanent damage, and trust me, I know. So, could that come back? Sure. I mean, maybe it'll be like The Handmaid's Tale, pretty soon, if some far right group comes to power and brings back the old Stone Age religion.
Or maybe some far left group brings back communism or socialism, and then we're cutting people's heads off or shooting people in the head just because we don't agree with them.
It could absolutely. It could be a number of things. It could be some pandemic outbreak where people start getting sick and we don't know why. And we start stigmatizing certain groups because we think they're associated with this sickness. Who knows, man? People are capable of some crazy stuff. But to predict the future, I couldn't call it, man. I don't know what's coming. I don't know if it's going to be World War III or it's going to be some huge uprising of some particular group or what. I don't know.
And you know what?
Well, we need to get our act together. Society as a whole, man. People need to get on the ball.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's on that act. Let's change it a little bit, and let's talk about Microsoft AI.
What?
Microsoft. I just seen the commercial for that, right, Mike? Did you see something? A little bit about Microsoft.
Mike, help me out here, man. I don't know what he's talking about. Help me, Mike.
Microsoft AI.
Microsoft AI.
Yeah, I seen something popped up on actually today. I was kind of scrolling down YouTube and it was an ad that popped up and I seen Microsoft AI. And I was like,
Microsoft needs to here's the problem I have with I'm sorry, Mike, but here's the problem I have with Microsoft. They're nothing but a hustle, man. They're for people working these jobs, you know what I mean? These I don't know what to say. I don't want to say nothing disrespectful.
Well, right? AI is the future.
I don't like Microsoft. I think Microsoft. I think they're terrible.
Well, I mean, Microsoft is going through some growing pains, but
I think they have might have a different problem with Microsoft. I don't like the fact that you got to. No, never mind. Go ahead, Easy. I don't want to get into it.
No, go ahead, man. And by all means, I got a problem with Microsoft. I was going to share with you guys because I don't think Easy had already heard about this.
Please, Mike, please share it. I want to hear it.
Okay, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to try to get this on the screen here if I got enough room to do it. So there was a guy, and he's into, recycling for the most part. So his idea was, look, man, we got old computers, and we need to repurpose them. You know, somebody comes in, they buy a computer, you know, typically your computer, remember when they used to come with an operating system disk? You buy a computer, you got Windows on a disk, you're allowed to burn your own copy for a backup. What you pay for is that serial number that comes with the operating system. You register it, they get their money, everybody's happy, right? If you don't have an operating system today, you go to the Microsoft website, you download the software, you use your registration key, which you paid for, everybody's fine with that, right? Well, this guy had these old computers, and he works in a recycling facility. And long story short, he said, hey, man, you know, these computers, they need to have a backup disk with them when I sell them. They already have the registration key. I'm going to burn Windows, whatever, Windows 7, Windows 10 or whatever, onto a disk to give out with the computer when people buy it. Now, I'm not saying that's okay. Obviously, there are some laws in place that say you can't reproduce anything you don't own. And had this guy pirated serial numbers, I would totally be on Microsoft's side and say, yes, you got to prosecute this dude. You're losing money. But what he did is he downloaded something that is free. Okay. They don't charge for this. He put it on a CD as a convenience, gave it to the people who were buying these computers. Microsoft went after this guy, and right now he's facing 15 months in prison, not jail, not some fine, not some kind of probation, not going to prison where you put murderers and rapists and drug traffickers and child molesters and you name it, okay, violent criminals. And this just strikes me as, you know, number one, to go after an individual who really isn't hurting you to this extent, okay? If they would have came out and said, look, man, you're in violation, we're going to get a judgment against you. You're going to pay a fine. We're going to teach you a lesson. You're going to be, you know, on watch. Something else happens. But to say, you know what? No, we want to prosecute this dude to the fullest extent of the law. Number one, put him in jail. Take this man out of his home. Put him in a cage where he gets to see daylight X amount of hours a day and gets to spend the next 15 months thinking about these free CDs that he burned, which, again, I'm not saying it's okay for him to do that. But the penalty, the judgment seems pretty extreme, in my opinion. And what always gets me is this, man, if you're a big company and someone wrongs you, you're looking at some severe sentencing. Wow. How many times do people pirate your videos on YouTube, upload it, and what's the penalty? Oh, we're going to flag it so it gets discontinued, right? But you try uploading a movie onto your channel and see what happens.
Right.
It all depends on how big the prosecuting party is going to be, the person that's going after them. So this guy, I'm trying to get him in for an interview, man. I want to talk to him. He's, you know, saying, look, man, this is free. We're recycling stuff instead of making people throw things into landfills, which all these companies, Microsoft especially, has said that they are in favor of recycling, that's their thing. They don't want to, you know, throw things into a landfill just for the purpose of, how do I stop screen sharing here? I was going to pull this off and I don't know how now.
You have to go to the side there and
okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, you know, again, not to justify what he's doing, but it's crazy, you know, especially from a company that represents themselves as being environmentally friendly, and they're going to do all this cool stuff to help out and not waste. And man, they're all guilty of it. Apple does the same thing. They try to represent themselves as being green and earth friendly, and yet they just built a new robot that will disassemble your phone instead of repairing it, which is, you know, what I stand for pretty strongly. You got a device that doesn't work and you want to upgrade, that's fine. But there may be somebody else out there that can use that. And all we got to do is a small repair, takes 30 minutes, small amount of money. But a lot of these companies would rather say, oh, why don't you turn it into us? We'll give you $100 credit for that $700 phone that doesn't work anymore that would cost $75 to fix. We'll get you into buying that financing we talked about. Let's lock them into a contract, get that old. You see all these phone return programs they have? There's a reason that's happening. They don't want stuff that still works floating around when there's a new product coming to market in a couple months. We need to get that stuff back in. And it's so funny, but we had this brief conversation about the quality of, you know, replacement parts on phones. Man, you want to talk about someone going cheap. When we have a customer that comes into the store and says, hey, I need to get my screen fixed, and we give them the price and they say, oh, do you got anything for less? Can I do less? And I'm like, listen, I found out the key question to ask is this: what are you going to do with that phone? Are you going to continue to use it, or are you fixing it so that your carrier is satisfied that the phone's not damaged and they're going to give you full return value? And when we determine that, if someone says, listen, man, just fix this, I'm turning it into Verizon or Sprint or AT&T or whatever, give me the cheapest thing you got. I don't care if the touchscreen, the fingerprint scanner works. It just needs to look like it's not broken. That's what people are opting for. They're saying, I mean, this is going to get me by till next week when I sign up for that other, that other finance device. And that stuff generally, there's a small percentage of these devices that can be resold. Most of them have to go back somewhere else. And they're not really seeing a reason to put this back into circulation. Why should they?
And you know what? We talked about that Thursday, and I say this about what happened with LG. Everybody was faulting LG about the pixel screens, and I'm like this as a business guy. I can almost see how that worked out. The guy sitting at the round table, LG giving them 3 options. You got option 1 for a good screen, you got the middle quality screen, and then you got the poor quality screen. You got 3 tiers. Pick which one you want us to manufacture. We're going to give you a boatload of them at this price. Boom, put them on your phone. Well, what happened was people with the pixels got them. And listen, I might be lying, but this is my plain of thought when I seen people complaining about the pixel screen being dull. It's all LG's fault. Pin it on LG. Pin it on LG. I'm saying to myself, man, I don't know if this is all LG's fault here, So I looked at it, and then here come the second generation of Pixel phones come out with a better screen. So that makes me think that they went back to the drawing table, back at the round table, and said, hey, give us the quality screen on the next generation of Pixels. And so I think people was throwing LG under the bus because, I mean, if you look at the G6 and you look at some of the LG devices, their screens look pretty good.
Yeah, well, the thing, and I agree with you, man, that's probably how it happened. But LG should be thinking, they should know the first rule here in brand name representation is it doesn't matter if your customer's saying, hey, do it cheap, do it cheap, do it cheap. It still has your name on it. So once that happens, you're putting your brand name on the line when you do that. And that's why I hate selling cheap. It's like, dude down the street can do an iPhone screen for $49. Can you match the price? Man, do you want to use this screen? Do you want to look at it? Do you want the touch to function or no? I'm selling it tomorrow. Give me the cheapest thing you got. Yeah. Everybody wants to win, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Here's the deal, though. Then this brings me back to Microsoft that you were talking about. Now, easy. This is why I love Google so much. Now, if you really pay attention to Google News, right? So you go onto the Google websites, the production forums, and you pay attention to all these things Google are doing. Yes, Google is out trying to make money. The more customers Google, we're the customer, right? We're the product for Google, right? At the same time, though, don't get it twisted, though. It's a trade-off. Because Google's helping us get better at our technology, right? Then you got Microsoft. They want you to go to college to learn how to use Excel. I'm sorry, I'm against that, man. I shouldn't have to spend all this money to go learn how to use Excel. I can go on YouTube, and there's a lot of people on there that put Excel videos. And you know what? I can't wait to start doing that myself because I'm against that. So that's a problem. I just think Microsoft is nothing but a hustle. That's the problem I have with them. And I like Google because Google gives you all this stuff right there. You can use it, you can learn it, and you become that Google Drive is the most powerful thing on your phone. I use my Google Drive I got so much stuff. You ever walk inside people's houses and they got like stacks of like letters and you're like, hey, what's that over there? They're like, oh, that's my food stamp application. That's my, whatever they got, right? I'm like, look here, man. You can. I'm like, no, I tell people, I'm like, look, man, you get that food stamp application and scan it into your phone, scan it into your drive. And they're like, what's the drive? And then that's where I sit people down and that's where this is where I torture people. I'm like, sit your ass down. I'm going to teach you how to use your phone for something other than these damn little video games. And you're going to get smarter. I bought my house. This place that I'm in right here, I bought it with my phone. Whenever the bank and everybody else was saying, hey, we need this, we need that, I was just scanning it in with my drive and boom, it was there. And I don't know where I'm going with this.
but let me ask you this question, Ace. That brings up a point about robots and we giving too much attention to technology. Are we giving our whole life to technology? Because like you said, you use Google Drive for everything. You upload all your documents. this is what happened with Facebook, right? It was a data
breach. We are. I don't mean to interrupt, but yes, I want to answer your question. Yes, we have to though, because try to get a job at McDonald's or anywhere. Now you got to put. Now you have to use that damn robot's freaking me out. Now you got to. Now you got to upload your application, your resume, even for your doctor's appointment. Now you can do it electronically. And I hate to say they, because I'm not. This isn't a conspiracy. It's happening. You can't do nothing without the internet now.
But yeah, but that's the point. I know that we rely almost 100% on the internet, and this is why Mark Zuckerberg was in Congress, because of the data breach that he tried to keep it under wraps, and it came out that all Analytica, whatever, then bought all our trade secrets. But are we allowing ourselves to have 100% of our livelihood, along with everything we spend, documents, everything uploaded into a storage bin? Are we ready for that? I mean, it's happening now, Mike, right? We got 100% of our life that's on Google Drive, that's on OneDrive, is on the internet.
We have no choice.
I talk about this a lot, and I'm probably the outlier here, and I'm probably older than both of you guys, so maybe I'm a little more old school, but all my backups are on external hard drives. I don't put anything on a cloud, on Amazon. I don't use Facebook other than for my channel on YouTube, which probably doesn't make any sense because nobody on Facebook likes YouTube and vice versa.
I know, they don't.
But man, I don't upload anything to the cloud. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before I give in and say, I'll do it. But I'm good with having things on my own phone, my own computer, my own external hard drive. I know to make copies. I've been in this business long enough to lose it. And I'm hanging on, man, as long as I can, because I don't like the idea. And here's the thing that I always talk about. People say, do you trust Apple? Do you trust Facebook? Do you trust Amazon, Google and everything else? I always want to remind people that when you ask about the loyalty or the trust that someone has in a corporation, you got to remember there are people behind that corporation. The same way you say, hey, I'll give my credit card to this restaurant. I trust this restaurant. That's fine. Do you trust the guy that took, or the waitress or whoever that took their credit card to the back to not make an imprint? You don't know what's going on. I'm saying we're dealing with people no matter what.
Now, that's another thing I do. Look, guys, I'm a little bit like, I don't want to sound shady, but look, if you're going to be doing like illegal things, you leave your phone at home, right? And it's very important that you learn to use cash. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to use, you got to learn how to keep things analog, okay? That's very important, because yeah, it is nice to disconnect. And I mean, it sounds like I give Google a lot of. It sounds like I just like worship at the altar of Google, or I worship at the altar of Samsung. But here's the deal. I know if the electricity went out and it never came back on, I'd be fine. I know how to kill my own animals to eat. I know how to dig wells. I'm good to go. This technology for me, how there's people that are into video games? To me, this is like a video game. This is what I love doing right here. I love YouTubing. Easy knows I love YouTubing. But I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, but I'm not sharing my most intimate details. And even if, like, say somebody got my address to my house and they showed up, cool.
But I mean, but I think at the end of the day, I think we are getting to that era, and a lot of people doing this. You see the teenagers do this a lot, right? They're telling people where they are. They're sharing the restaurants where they're at. They're telling them they're going out of town. And once you're putting all that stuff out there on social media, people know everything about you.
Look at the big screen TV I just bought. Next week, hey, we're going out of town for a week.
And that is insane. And you know what? You got a lot of people that get robbed, and a lot of homes get broken into because people put their status online, and they tell people when they're not home. They tell people when they're going out of town for 2 weeks. They just bought new TVs. They just bought new computer systems, and all of a sudden they come home, their door wide open, and everything that they post online is gone.
Listen, man, here's the crazy thing, because what we were talking about a little bit on another stream earlier is that, you know, people post their information on social media. You could jump on Google Street View, get a good look at the house. And if you really wanted to, you could fly a drone in and see what's happening in real time without ever even going there.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember like 10, 15 years ago, it was around the time of 9/11, where they were talking about how Google Street View is a dangerous weapon for terrorists because they can scope out everything at any given time, see who's where, what parts where, who's whatever. And for a while they were saying, yeah, we don't think this is a good idea. We don't want people that, you know, on the other side that we're fighting against to be able to see everything on Google Street View. But then that argument just kind of went away. Like it evaporated. Nobody talks about that anymore.
And we still got Google Street View, by the way. I mean, that's still around.
Better and more up to date and more sophisticated than it is now. You're going to be in virtual reality where you're walking down any street you want to.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about it? You see Google cars passing up and down your neighborhood all the time. And all they're doing is just taking instant photographs of your house and your car, your everything, people out in the street, everything. They're just taking photographs and videos of everything. Oh, that's scary, man.
I had a friend that used to use Google Maps to I shouldn't even say this online. Oh my God. I had a friend that used Google Maps to you know, figure out where to sell stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing about it is, I mean, you got Craigslist, you got, and that's dangerous too. I mean, people buy stuff on Craigslist. Now you can buy stuff on Facebook. Like they got the Facebook Marketplace now. And so when you're meeting up with people, you get the addresses, you know, you don't even know these strangers. People not meeting up in public like they used to. And I mean, I don't know, things are dangerous, things are crazy. And I know, look, technology, because we're seeing it happening right in front of us. Everything is going to is cloud-based. You know what? That's Microsoft, cloud-based computing, right? That's what they are. You got cloud-based computing. You have everybody wants you to upload everything to the cloud. Think about this. Remember when we had to fill out applications for jobs? We had to go to the job to fill out the applications. That's gone. You have to go do everything online. Your I-9 online.
Yeah, you can't get away from it.
And
they want you to upload everything. They want you uploading. I mean, let's say you want a government job. They want you to upload like the most intimate things about you. And what was it? 5 or 6 years ago, China went and they hacked the government. I hate to say words like the government. They went and they hacked. The civilian process. I'm sorry, guys. China hacked the they hacked the division of the government that had everybody's standard Form 83s. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Anyway, so now China has all these security clearances on file. It's like, what the hell? That pissed me off. But anyway.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I think we use the technology. I mean, once you get on the internet, you can get on any type of proprietary software. I mean, you run yourself into a lot of, you know, things that can happen once you infiltrate some of the things. That's why you have all these authentication. I mean, for Apple has 2 or 3 step authentications now, right? I mean, you got your fingerprint, then you have to put the code in, and then now it tells you it has to send a code to another phone, right? This happens to be a lot. Like if I go try to purchase something, they had to send a code to another phone that, you know, so I got to ask my daughter to give me the code and everything. So that, I mean, Apple has this 3-step authentication going on. And I mean, this is why I get upset with Android, by the way, with all this.
Oh, hell, here we go. Calm down, Easy. I know where this is going. I know. Me and Easy have a problem, right? Easy is mad about the updates, and I'm mad about the battery. I'm like, why don't we talk about the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus? Is anyone going to talk about that? Mark, where you at? Here's the deal. So they call the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus the camera reimagined, right? Now, Mark, is the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus the camera reimagined? Talk to me.
You're talking to me?
Yes, Michael.
Oh, Mike.
I'm sorry. Is the camera reimagined? I want to know. Tell me.
Okay, to the best of my knowledge, this is a funny thing because I just had this conversation with my brother recently, who is also in the business. And I said, you know, I got this Galaxy S6 with a busted screen. And here's the problem with that. As you know, with Androids and Galaxies and, you know, in general, the phone is worth about as much as the cost of the replacement part. And I fix phones. Right. That's what I do. I repair phones. I'm looking at $130 for the screen, about a $150 value of the phone itself. So what do? I'm going to make 20. You know, I'm going to be $20 in the black if I do this repair. If I wait a couple more months, I'll be losing money, right? And he said, you know what? You're right. It cost almost as much as it's worth, but the Galaxy S6 still has one of the best cameras of any Samsung phone so far.
Yes.
Yes,
so if that says anything,
yes.
You know, man, listen, I want to like Samsung. I really do. I want to like a lot of these vendors. You know, I want to find the good in them, but Samsung, stop trying to be like Apple. That's, if I wanted an iPhone, I get an iPhone. Yeah. What they're doing, you know, and again, for my world is the whole edge screen thing. That just means it costs more to fix your screen when you break it. You know, that's
right. But Mike, what do you think of the S9 Plus?
I don't have the S9 Plus.
Okay, so that's okay though. What do you think of it then? What do you think of it?
I don't.
Would you get it? Yes. Would you get it? Yes or no?
What's that?
Would you get it?
I wouldn't get it personally.
How come you wouldn't get it? How come you wouldn't get it?
Because first of all, right now, basically the size. I don't like big phones. Okay, I got an iPhone 8 right here. It's too big. It's too much. This isn't convenient for me. Cool. If I want a tablet, I pick up a tablet. So I'm not a Plus customer. That's probably the main reason.
What do you think of the Dolby Atmos speakers? What do you think about all that? Those dual stereo speakers or whatever they're called.
Man, all the things, when you talk about like front-facing speakers and trying to build great audio into a phone, man, I am far more likely to put on a nice Bluetooth headset to try to listen to a movie or a video or anything else like that. I'm not trying to blast my phone so that it sounds great. Okay,
here's the easy. I want to answer your question, all right? You asked me something about the S9 Plus earlier, and here's the thing. Two things happened to me, right? So I've been using the Note 8 as my daily driver. I know people are like, whoa, what's going on here? You just had the S9 Plus. I don't have the S9 Plus anymore because, number one, something about this Note 8 that I really, 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 really like, right? And let's get down to the other thing. I bought the S9 Plus twice. I bought the unlocked version, which is okay. Now the Verizon version was a lot better. The battery life from the Verizon version, I was getting anywhere from 20 to 24 hours of usage with an easy 5-hour screen on time. But I put a whole bunch of photos on Google Plus and Twitter comparisons, right? I was like comparing the Pixel, and then I was comparing the Note 8 with it. And I'm going to be honest, whenever they said the camera was reimagined, I thought the camera was going to be like out of this world. And for a phone, for me, the camera makes or breaks the phone because I'm outside a lot. I want to get the best photos. So I actually trust the camera on my Note 8 versus the S9, and I also trust the camera on my Pixel 2 XL versus the S9. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going to get the S9 Plus or the S9 Active, and I am going to get the Note 9. And with the Note 9, I'm like, easy. I have a wish list. I'm like, give me 4,000 milliamp battery, give me the dual speakers, give me updates. That's not going to happen. Look, easy. Samsung's not going to give updates. Well, I don't know. Maybe if we go to Samsung, maybe you and me, easy. Maybe you and me, we need to go go to Samsung and be like, come on, guys, updates. It's not hard. Just give us the update.
Well, I figured it out, Ace. I figured out why Samsung don't give out updates, right?
They want you to buy a new phone.
That's one of the reasons. And the second reason is because they release so many phones. They got so much software going on. I mean, who's in control of the mid tiers, the low end phones? Who's doing the Galaxy Active software? I mean, you have the Samsung experience on some device, then the mid-tier device got different software. So when you release 200 phones a year, well, who's in charge of doing that? I'm not giving Samsung a pass here, but I'm just saying Samsung, unlike Apple, only release 2 phones a year, right? You got the small one and the big one. That's it. Samsung go release the Galaxy Prime, the Galaxy. They got the A series, they got the C series, they got the F series, they got all these series of phones. And what happens is who's in control of updating these?
Well, it's fun. It's funny, Easy, because I've been keeping up with the Tizen team, right? I'm one of these nerds. I'm like, hey, what's the Tizen team up to? The Tizen team is just they're not doing anything. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but the Tizen team, there's not going to be Tizen on a Samsung phone for about 4 or 5 more years, if that, because they're not doing anything. Or if they're doing it at Area 51 over there. By the way, Area 51 is over there. I'm not kidding, guys. I know this stuff. Anyway, so the Tizen team, they're not doing anything. I mean, I've looked into it. I've dug into it. I've tweeted. I've got a hold. I'm like a stalker when it comes to this stuff because I'm like one of those people. I'm a wannabe rumor. You know those people that sends leaks and rumors? I'm like one of those wannabes, right? I'm trying to like get inside information. And Easy, something else happened to me. I used to be strictly an S guy, right? I've turned into a Note person. I don't know how that happened, but I have turned into a Note guy. And I think what it is, like with this Note 8 that I have here, this phone in general, God. But the battery sucks. But the phone in general is amazing. And Samsung, give us a 4,000, 5,000 milliamp battery. If they can put 5,000 milliamps in a Moto E, you can put 5,000 milliamps in my Note 8.
Well, they won't do it.
And my Note 9.
They won't do it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I mean, let's talk about history. Have they ever done it? That's the whole thing. That you see, you gotta go back and look at history. If you look at the S series and the Note series, and you look at history, since it been existing, has it ever got good battery life? Have we ever got the 7 and 8 and 9 hours of screen on time with these phones? They actually remember the Galaxy S7 Edge had a 3,600 milliamp battery. Well, that's gone, right? I mean, they went way down, 3,500, 3,400, 3,000 milliamp battery. Now they relying on processors to be optimized for battery life. But when it all boils down, you got a 6.4-inch screen, you got Quad HD Plus. That's a lot of pixels to push. It doesn't matter what kind of processor you put in it.
You're right about that. Because, you know, if you ever go to like the Qualcomm like website and you like okay, start at square one. Go to the Qualcomm website and research the Qualcomm 835, and then go to these other websites where these nerds have done a lot of research into the Qualcomm 845, and then look at your Samsung Galaxy S9. You're like, oh my God, it's not even using what it could use, and that drives me crazy. And I mean, this goes back. There's another story that drives me crazy though, because I want to have a lot of control over my phone. And granted, my Note 8. It doesn't lag, and I'm very picky with I know when a phone lags because it bothers me, and I get real dramatic, and I get on Google Plus, and I'll even make videos about it. I'll throw like crazy. I'll go nuts. This Note 8, there's something I don't know. Maybe like me and Easy have magical phones, but this Note 8 is running perfect, and I'm not running BK Disabler. But what I've done, and I try to teach people this, I'm like, look, if you don't want to use the Samsung calendar, you can't disable it, but you can disable notifications, and you can disable permissions, right? That's the one way to get that app to never bother you. And I try to teach people this because everyone's trying to be like, well, how do I use BK Disabler and blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do that. You just need to know how to disable your apps, period. Once you can disable an app, it won't bother you anymore, and your battery life will get a lot better.
But why we have to do that? I mean, that's the point that I be making. Like, you got mid-tier phones that give you guaranteed 2 days battery life because they put 5,000
Samsung needs to. I'm telling you right now, and I'm begging Samsung. Samsung, man, I love you guys. Give me that 4,000. Give me that 5,000 milliamp battery. Even if they want to put a 4,000 milliamp battery in the Galaxy Note 9. It's gonna be expensive as hell, but even if they did do it, how much more battery life you think you gonna get on that thing? And Samsung, and you know how they could do it? You know how they could do it? let us disable all the processes we want. Because if they can put the stuff in there, they can put that little toggle that says turn off. It's that simple, and it is.
I'm gonna tell you why they're not gonna do it, because
they want to force everything on us.
Right, they don't want the average consumer tinkering around with all that stuff, because that brings up the return cost is going to go up to the roof. When you got average consumers that's going to turn off notifications, but go bring their phone back to the shop and say, I ain't getting no notifications, because they forgot what they did. So I think with Samsung and with all these other Android phone companies, same thing with Apple. They try to make it, they do the KISS method. It's all about the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the whole thing.
Hey, Michael, what phone are you running? What's your daily driver?
Right now, I'm using the iPhone 8 Plus.
Your iPhone 8 Plus. Do you have your location turned on?
No, man, I don't do any of that.
Why?
Why? What do I need it for?
So you know where you're at.
I know where I'm at.
Oh, you're freaking me out, dude.
Location services for? What does that mean?
You're too, look, Mike, you have too much common sense for me. You're making me crazy. I'm not used to dealing with people with common sense. You gotta stop. Okay, man, I don't even know what to ask you now, man. I'm like, no, I'm freaked out.
Hey, I try to maintain a balance, guys. I try to maintain a balance. I'm trying to live in today. I'm not trying to live in the old world, but at the same time, there are a lot of my core beliefs come from growing up in a time where people talked about the Constitution and the rights that people have and the American way. And man, the world is not the same. We're not living in the same times we were 30 years ago, where people would say things and you take it for granted anymore. And you know, there's this slow transition to little by little. Hey, we're going to give you this, but it comes at this small price. We just want to know what you're doing with it. You know, we want to keep track of you. Okay. And most of the time people are going to be all right with it. And it's nothing dramatic. It doesn't happen in a big transition. But little by little, why don't you install Facebook? Why don't you put some GPS on your phone? Why don't you turn on your locations? Because that way you could tag your photos. And now your photos will tell people where you were when you took the picture. And I feel like at some point, you know what I'm doing is my business. And it's not, and everyone has the same thing. Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you got nothing to hide. You know what? If I'm running around in my house with no clothes on, I got nothing to hide, but you don't all want to see that, okay? Because that's my business, not anyone else's. So for some reason, I got this meme stuck in my head about that whole attitude. Now, I want to back up a second, guys, because you said something about batteries a minute, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
One, someone in the chat, it was Albert Yu. He said, I'm about to get a BlackBerry, or I'll turn into a BlackBerry Athena guy. When you guys are demanding more battery power, I got to tell you, BlackBerry, man, I know it's taken a step way back. Yeah. I had a BlackBerry that you could put in standby mode where it's on, and I left that thing in the closet and forgot about it. And 2.5 weeks later, it was still on. I mean, the battery was low, but that thing was still running. And when we look at lithium-ion batteries in general, there's something missing, because the technology, you're saying how much more can you get in there? How much will fit? The question is, how come the same size battery doesn't give you more standby time now? Why don't we get more out of something that's this big, instead of saying, how do we make that bigger and make the phone smaller? At some point, it has to become more efficient. That hasn't really happened.
Do you know why, Mike? Because they're mass producing these products, and they're just, I mean, in order to mass produce something, you have to use the cheapest the cheapest dollar amount with the materials. So that's what they're doing. Now, I guarantee there's somebody somewhere, or some group of people somewhere, that are using high-tech batteries, high-tech everything, and it's a whole nother realm, because we all know that technology is like 20 or 40 years ahead of us right now. Like what the government has, or what all these other people have, like say like at Area 51 or at White Sands Missile Range. These people have stuff that's way ahead of us, and like you said though, they're just mass producing trash to us. Let's just be honest. Well, they're mass producing trash.
It seems to me, right now cobalt is the big deal, right? Because if you want to manufacture lithium-ion batteries, people are going crazy trying to buy up these places in the I'm forgetting the region, but it's really sad, man. Like lithium-ion batteries are the blood diamonds of today. They have child laborers going into these mines, being exposed to toxic chemicals to get this stuff. so we can get our phone batteries, okay?
That's right.
The big impact, think about a car that runs on a lithium-ion battery. That's a lot. You know, how many phones could you make out of one battery that goes into a Tesla or any other kind of electric car? So that's the thing. And I have this feeling that because there's a fixed value to the materials they use to manufacture lithium-ion batteries, if suddenly that new technology appears and replaces that, everybody loses money in that market. Yeah, so they tend to stabilize how much battery time you get, how long it's going to last, and the dollar amount attached to that battery. And that's fixed, you know, to a certain extent. It's not going to change dramatically. It's like saying, hey, what if solar and wind would work right now and we don't need oil companies anymore? Even if that's true, it's not going to happen because there's too much money tied up in oil. There's too much money tied up in, you know, any kind of industry that is making large dollar amounts. And that's what we see is like, how come we can't get better? I'll tell you why we can't get better, because there's some politics involved there. And I hate to jump into that arena, but let's be honest, man, that's got to have a big influence on what we're able to get on our end.
Yep, and I agree with you. And right now we get close to the top of the hour. And oh man, I ain't gonna lie to you, but my Wednesday night, ladies' night, and my Saturday night tech talk, it gets so interesting. And when we talk about technology, when we get deep into these discussions, it's like we always run out of time. It just brings the light to what we have going on. And so we go get on and wrap this up in a minute. I'm gonna let y'all guys. First of all, I want to say thank everybody for showing up in the chat room. I seen a lot of people was actually putting in comments. Hopefully, that these discussions that we have on Saturday Night Tech Talk and on Wednesdays also might be having his own streams, and obviously Ace be knocking them videos out, be putting out a lot of information. So, Mike, let everybody know, because a lot of people, and I see people putting in your links. Let everybody know how to reach it.
Yeah, real quick, everyone. And again, thanks to Easy Ace. Nice to meet you on here, man. You guys are welcome. Come by my stream anytime. I'm going to try to do a thing once a month where I just say, let's have a panel, kind of like, you know, I learned this from Easy. That's where I got the idea for that. But I do 2 streams. I do a stream Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. and I do a stream at Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Those are Pacific Standard Times. But for the most part, my channel is a how-to channel. So if you got problems with your phone, you're trying to fix things, a lot of my videos are tutorials. How do I replace the screen on my iPhone? How do I replace the battery on my Galaxy because the back of it's glued on, and how am I going to get that off and replace it myself and not have to spend a bunch of money doing that? So I try to keep things on a level where the average do-it-yourselfer with some, you know, if you're handy with the screwdriver, that's who I'm targeting. A lot of people shouldn't be doing this. You know, I'll be honest with you. It's not for everyone. But for people who think, you know what, I think I could handle this. I've taken things apart before. I like to do that. That's pretty much what my channel is about. But I do like keeping up with the tech news just like you guys do. So these conversations like this are the best part of it, man. It's like we're sitting here we're learning. You know, we're sharing information, we're learning, and if we can do that and other people can benefit from it, I'm all for it. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on here again with you, Easy.
Yes, no problem. And look, I also appreciate you coming. Ace! All
right. I'm Ace Lucero. Here's the deal, guys. If you have a message, and I'm talking to the people in the comment stream, and I'm talking to the people that stumble across this video, if you have a message and you want to get it out there, my channel was inspired by the whole fact all you need is a phone. All you need is a phone. You don't even need a tripod. All you need is a phone. But say you want to spend $35 on a tripod, get it. Get your message out there. Don't be quiet. Doesn't matter what the message is. We have YouTube, right? Just don't be making like crazy video, like nude videos, or don't be like that one guy walking in the forest, you know, finding. No. But if you got a message you want to talk about, get it. Don't be at home quiet, sitting in your mom's basement. Get out there, man. Make your videos. Come to my channel. I try to provide all the Android news possible. I try to keep it real, and I'm getting better and better. Thank you, Easy. I'm pointing at you right now. Thank you, Easy, for everything, man. I have learned so much from you, and you motivate me, man. You make videos, you talking about stuff, and I'm like, what? I better make a video about that too, man. I'm like, anyway, thank all of you for watching. Thank you, Easy. Very, very good meeting you, Mike. And maybe one day I can be on your channel too. I promise I'll behave. I'm just joking. I won't.
Hello. Oh, sorry, guys. I froze up there for a minute, but hey, same here. And by the way, I wanted to mention thanks not only to everyone who came by to check this out, but also thanks to the people who are moderating and putting the links in the chat. Scrumptious Kimmy and Tech Valor, and I see that Tech for Your Needs was on there. Put my link. Really appreciate that, and that's where the work is. You know, trying to keep track of this stuff. So shout out to everyone who was helping make that happen. And I watched your Wednesday evening where you guys do a roll call and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know how she's going to keep up with that, but good job. Good job on that.
Well, I want to just, before we go, I just want to say, I think Wine Wednesday is kicking our ass, and I don't like it. No, dude, the women are too smart, man. You guys have some some good conversations, and I want to compete with Wine Wednesday.
Ace, when he invites us on, it's me and you talking. On Wednesday, he's got legal representation on there. He has a female vocalist coming on, performing on microphone. So, you know, it's hard to compete with that. Let's be honest.
Man, we need to pick it up. We need to get live, man. We need to just go at them, you know?
Yes. Shouts out to Big House Production for the super chat. Thank you, guys.
Good job, Big House.
And, you know, one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel and one of the reasons why I started Wine Wednesday because I wanted the ladies to have a voice. And they have a whole night to themselves and believe me, their voices are heard. And that's a good thing. And we need more of that. Because think about it. This tech's supposed to be male driven. No, ladies do have some information about tech also. So that's always a good thing. I want to give a huge shout out to Craig, Mike, and Ace for coming to the tech show tonight. I would give a huge shout out to everybody that came in the panel. I don't do roll calls on Saturday. I don't know how the ladies from Wine Wednesday they organize it. They do it. Shout out to them. They do their thing. I'm reading the comments and I try to do a lot of things. And I've seen Kimmy say, Ace, you got to put the phone in your mouth type things because. Because y'all in the stream that makes this stuff happen. So we will see y'all Wednesday. And listen, I got my birthday stream coming up, and y'all this Wednesday we celebrating a little bit of my birthday a little bit. So join me live this Wednesday for ladies because it's my birthday week and I'm having some fun and going from there. Thank y'all guys very much. This is Eric from Music Computer Solutions. See y'all guys Wednesday. Peace.